Hey everybody, this is the man with the POGO, Milo Mirra, and this is the 3 Count Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And with this being season, 6 or 430 something episode, I would just hope you say it with me. I am your Sherpa, because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering the ring? You can find this man at Chaotic. You can find him at Wrestling Open. You can find him at Limitless, PPW, APW, Rad Pro, Focus Pro. He is traveling all over. He is the extreme athlete, the miraculous. He's the man who holds 2 world records, actually held 2 world records, currently still holds one. He's the man of the POGO. He is Milo Mirra.
Hey, Red Dog, how's it going? What an intro. What an intro. I think you hit every single nickname I've gone by.
No, I like to good research. You got to have like these great
Yeah.
elaborate intros, because I mean if you're doing a podcast and you're coming out with like lame energy, like no one's gonna listen to you.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that for sure.
I've been a part of some podcasts where the guys are like, "Hey, welcome everybody to our podcast. We're here with Red Dog. Red Dog, how are you feeling today?" I'm just like, where am I?
Yeah, it's like stuff I'd like put on to fall asleep to or something like that. Yeah.
I was like, listen, there is a personality out there for those kind of things, right? And I do like some of them. But if you're trying to be the Bob Ross of like podcasting, a lot of people are gonna just listen to you to snooze to you. They're not gonna pay attention.
Yeah.
So you gotta get them, you
Yeah,
gotta
for
catch
sure.
them right away.
Yeah.
No, so we've met a couple times. So we actually met. We met at Chaotic, and then we actually met at Focus Pro. That's where we actually sat down and actually chatted
Yeah.
it up. And I got so encapsulated by your story about
Yeah.
like your extreme athlete like pogo career, and I was just
Yeah.
fascinated. I was like, "Yo, I'm beyond words. I got to bring you on and talk to you." So we've kind of had this in the works for a little bit, but I'm very excited to have you on the show today, though.
Yeah, I feel like the first time we talked about it was like Focus Pro, like when I first started on shows. It was like 2 years ago. Lots
Yeah,
happened. A lot of a
Lot-
lot of wrestling's happened as well. So I'm
yes,
excited to talk about it.
yeah. No, so let's. Well, one, I kind of want to talk about the name a little bit, right? Because I also am I'm an avid fan of extreme sports, right? So I've
Hell
been
yeah.
following the X Games almost since it was created, like when it really took mainstream into like ESPN back in like I want to say like 95, 96. So
Yeah.
Ryan Nyquist and Dave Mirra and Tony Hawk and Travis Pastrana, and
Mhm.
like, the names could just rattle on for days, man. I'm just curious, like, how did you come up with the name?
Yeah, so it was the same story, right? Like I grew up watching extreme sports. Like the X Games was like the coolest thing to me ever. I remember like sitting in my grandma's house when I was like 8 years old. It was like way too late for me to be up at like 8 and watching Travis Pastrana hit a double backflip during best trick for motocross, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, right? Like the pop of the crowd and everything. Like that immediately drew me into extreme sports, and BMX was one of my favorites to watch. I never was good at doing BMX myself, but like watching BMX was like the sickest, and my favorite BMX rider was Dave Mirra. And so when I was coming into wrestling, and I was like, maybe I'll do like an extreme sports character to kind of go with the pogo stick and all the extreme sports stuff I've done in my life, you know, maybe I should take an extreme sports athlete's name. So that like the people who get it, they'll get it, right? Like they know it. They know it, right? So Mira was like the choice of the last name, and then I kind of just picked the first name as like I was like, what's a unique name I like that kind of fits with Mira? And Milo fit pretty well. It was Milo Mira, and Yeah, it fits pretty well.
It's crazy. So you mentioned Travis Pastrana and a double backflip. You were 8 when you saw that happen.
Yeah, yeah.
I I don't remember how old I was when I saw that happen. I remember watching Travis Pastrana throw the first backflip and bailing off his motorcycle and just throwing it up in the air just
Yeah.
because he didn't know what to expect. He threw it up and like he threw it off this edge and he threw it and it landed and the bike shattered, right?
Mhm.
And the crowd went ape shit for it. And it was in Los Angeles. It was like an afternoon show. I remember him doing it there because he had just won the freestyle competition. And then the next year, the crowd was like encouraging him to try to do a backflip. So he did like a ghost ride backflip. He just let it go. He just rolled off the back because he's like, I'm scared. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna play. He's like, I'm scared of doing a backflip. And then the following year was when Carey Hart bailed that 20-foot backflip. And I was like, dude lacerated his liver,
Yeah.
shattered his pelvis. Like,
Yeah.
my man
So
got
good.
hurt.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, it's been weird to think about that, like, especially with motocross, like, watching that happen. And that was like, I think it was like 2001. I saw the first backflip get landed.
Yeah.
And then I remember reading like an ESPN article. I was like 2006, and they were talking about best trick.
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah. And here's this person just doing a simple backflip. And I was like, did I really just read that like that? Like,
Yeah.
we're just like, yeah, man, he just did a backflip. Like, oh, big deal. Like, it's still a big deal to me.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. Like I think like being in an extreme sport and like doing it at like a high level for my extreme sport, like I'm pogoing small, like I can't like compare it to motocross or anything like that. Like it's a small community. But like even in a small community of an extreme sport, like the progression as things get landed is insane. Like when I started pogo sticking, the first front flip on a pogo stick had never been landed.
Mm,
Uh, and so throughout my career, I've seen a ton of world firsts on the pogo stick happen in an extreme sport. So it's like that those progressions as things happen in extreme sports is crazy. People like you always think that that's the craziest thing I'm going to see. Like when I watched Travis was trying to do the double backflip, I was like, nobody's ever going to top that. That's the coolest thing ever. Nobody's ever going to top that. And now you have like all these insane, crazy flips happening. People are like throwing double backflips in their freestyle runs and stuff at
right.
X Games. It's crazy. It's crazy the progression. It always just keeps going up and up and up.
I thought it was crazy when I saw someone do a backflip with a heart attack. And I was like, it's not going to get any crazier than this. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw, I remember Brian Deegan. See, this is how like I remember like,
Uh-huh.
I remember Brian Deegan throwing down the first 360 backflip. And then like, he he tried to do it in on ice because they had the motocross for ice
Yeah.
or in the winter games, and he tried to throw it down, and the pet like he landed it, but like he didn't fully land it because the bike
Yeah.
landed sideways. He landed on top, and it hit him like right in
Oof.
the side, and like he was out, like he was just done.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but him and he was going after somebody else. I can't remember. There was another dude who was doing
Yeah.
360 backflips into a foam pit, and Deegan was just needling this guy. Well, you do it into a foam pit. I do it the old school way, and I was like, why are we doing? Why are we doing it the old school way? But
No,
like,
yeah, I can't. That like old school mentality of like we need to go through the pain. No, bro, we have the technology.
we
Don't
can,
do
we can
it.
we can save our bodies. We can save,
Yeah.
which is a lot like wrestling. We
Yeah, it
don't
is.
have to do all these things. We can save our body.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
this, speaking of like things that go viral, like 360 backflips, you are Mr. Viral right now. Like you have been,
Yeah,
it is video after video after video after video of you just
yeah,
with the pogo stick. Like
yeah.
how are you feeling with all that?
I mean, it's been crazy, right? Like, so I had the first clip that went viral was from the Limitless Rumble in
Yep.
like December of last year, and that kind of picked up, and that got a million views on Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And so that happened, and then it was like a lot of other people started reposting all of my clips, and then fast forward to like 2 weeks ago, an Instagram page called Fuck Jerry with 20 million followers posted all over the place. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. I had people all over the woodworks, like from my past and everywhere, just like sending it to me, being like, "Is this you? Is this you?" I had to say yes so many times. I was like, it's a pogo stick guy that like it kind of looks like me. It's probably me.
Yeah. Well, like it was funny because like I was sitting at home and then my phone blows up and like a bunch of my friends and my uncle all
Yeah.
like they all know like oh look Cliff's in professional wrestling. Let's send this to him. And then people were sending me things like, hey, this needs to be in your repertoire. And I'm like, first of all, that's my friend. No. I was like, I would never just like, oh yeah, let me just do this because this looks simple. It's like, first of all, I know how much practice you put into that and how much work it goes into it. It's like, I'm not gonna do that. But like it was just funny because then I started just screenshotting everybody who was sending it to me and I would just send it to you. And I was just like,
Yeah, yeah,
look at this, look at this. I was like, but it was crazy because it's one thing when it goes from like Instagram, but when you cross over to another medium, like another
yeah,
social media app, like Facebook and then
yeah.
Twitter, and then all of a sudden you find yourself on TikTok and you're just hit after hit after hit after hit.
Crazy.
I just keep seeing people were attacking me, and I was like, I know who this is. And I had mentioned to somebody, I mentioned it to one person. I was like, yeah, he's coming on the podcast. We're gonna talk to him about all
Yeah.
this stuff. And everybody's like, really? You have to tag me in that interview, bro. I was like, okay, like, thanks for
Well,
watching.
I'm honored. I'm honored that they want to hear me talk about stuff. But it's yeah, no, it's been insane. I think like, you know, it's just crazy because so many people who aren't wrestling fans saw it, right? Like, and that's crazy to me. Is like, I it feels really good and validating for like non-wrestling people to see it and be like, that's really cool. So it's been a lot of fun to see the reaction to it, and see what everybody's has to say. It has its haters, it has its lovers.
As
But
it,
I have fun doing it and I love it.
yeah, as it should. It should have its haters because, like, if you're not having anybody hating on you for something that you
Yeah.
did, fuck them. Like,
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
it's not doing
Exactly.
anything. I look at it and I thought I saw like some big name accounts that were like, "Oh, this is ruining the sport." I'm like, shut up, bro. Like you were doing the job. Like you were literally giving other people an opportunity to see something that would normally not be seen, and you're talking about. So I always talk about it, I'm like, man, whether they hate you or they love you, man, just let them spread your brand. Who cares?
Yep. Yeah, no, I don't I take it all on the chin. I tweet the occasional angry tweet at the IWC, but it uh I generally keep it in. So
Joe. I talk about a group of people that the minority of not all of you at the IWC, but the
yes, yes.
minority of y'all that just complain to complain, man. It always gets me. It
Yeah.
always gets me. But my question really for you is like, because you've been getting hit with these viral videos, right? Has those like opened up opportunities for you like in other places that you just wouldn't have thought you would go to?
For sure. Yeah, like I've been in talks with a company in Kentucky to fly out there and do a show that probably would have never happened. Like they probably wouldn't have reached out to me if I didn't have viral clips,
Right.
which is pretty crazy. It's definitely helped in the New England area as well. Just like the fans know me more now. They've seen the clips. When I show up with the pogo stick, people are like, even people who like maybe don't know me by name are like, oh shit.
That's the
I've
guy.
seen that. I've seen that guy. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome though. Well, okay, so I've known, like I said, we talked about how you were like an extreme pogoist, and for those who don't know, what two world records, the one that he held and the one that he currently holds, is like the
Yeah.
100-meter dash.
Yeah, so I you have it a little bit wrong, and I'll correct you, but it's okay.
Let's do
So
it.
so I've only held one world record in my life,
Mm.
which was I don't hold it anymore. It was a former world record, and it was for the 100-meter dash on a pogo stick. I was the first one to set the record, so we did like a whole competition with the Guinness official and stuff. And I ended up winning, and that was cool. So now I have like the plaque in my kitchen. It's hanging up there, and it's just hanging out. It's a nice talking piece when people come over. But I have two world championships in
Mm.
pogo sticking, which is the where the two the 2 world championships come from. So
Well, I thought
yeah.
you held the record for most people doing a backflip simultaneously on a pogo stick.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're actually entirely correct.
Hey,
I forgot about that one.
this guy right here doesn't
That's
forget.
great. That's great research. That's great research. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, no, I am a part of that. That might have gotten broken though this year.
Mm,
Like since we talked about it, it might have
yeah.
gotten broken. So yeah, so I guess I have held 2 world records. I forgot about that.
And
I
also,
also think I was at a baseball stadium the same night that they did like most fake mustaches in a crowd. So I think 3.
that's actually, I want to see that record because I want to also I want to partake in a world record where it's something like that. It just,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think about those things where it's like a world record for like I don't even know, like fastest slide on a slip and slide with nacho
Yeah.
cheese, like a thing that's just so minute that no one else would be like, yo, well, let me break that, let me set that record. Like, what is that record?
Yeah.
And I just want to see, like, I want to just attempt because it's crazy to think like no one's ever gonna take this away from you that you were the inaugural person to set the
Yeah.
record. Like, no one could ever take that from me, which is so cool. And I'm like
Yeah.
seeing you at the obviously at multiple world championships, and then I'm flabbergasted because I'm like I've always been curious about like scoring wise for like extreme sports because I see like how judges score like the half pipe for skaters, and I'm just like how do they discipline this, like where they're like, yo, these are our grading
Yeah.
performances. Yeah, talking to you about it, I get to actually find this information out now.
Yeah, so I've actually been a judge at Pogo World Championships a few times. I'm actually going to be a judge this year as well. So it's funny because it's like I don't really like. There's no answer to this as to like how judges decide the score. Like it's just like vibes. I don't know. I feel like when you're like really into an action sport or really into an extreme sport, there's like a level of understanding you have for the sport that like some people who maybe aren't so familiar with it will see the thing and be like, oh, that's really cool. But like some of the easier things that look really cool, they might get louder for or something like that. But like when you're a judge, you recognize kind of like and like you've done the sport for a really long time, you recognize kind of like the really big intricacies and what they're doing. It's kind of like it's like pro wrestling, right? When you're training as a pro wrestler, like when you watch wrestling now, right? Like you know the ins and outs of like what they're doing. It's kind of like that when you're a judge for an extreme sports competition. Like you know the ins and outs of what they're doing. You know it's really hard. You know it's easier to do. You know what's a big risk, what's not. And so you kind of just use that and like whoever does in extreme sports, it's like whoever does the riskiest thing, the coolest thing, things that's never been done before, like that's going like and gets the crowd super hot. Like that's what's going to win an extreme sports competition. So, yeah.
I think about that a lot because, like, I've recently. So I was watching. So we do a live. We do the watch alongs here, right, on
Mhm.
the podcast, and I was watching Saturday Night Main Event, and I had to. I was watching it, but I was actively watching it as like a wrestler,
Mhm.
and I realized like midway through, I was like, oh, I can't do this. I have to turn this off because
Yep.
otherwise I have to let myself get like in the same instance, get captivated with like the audience because like I'm watching it and I'm just like, okay, here comes the breakdown. Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
heat, all right, here we go. Small heat, all right, hope spot. Yeah, and I was like, think about it, and I was like this the whole time, and I was like, oh, I gotta stop doing this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
pulled
you're
myself
you're you're
out.
more so studying than you are
Yeah,
like watching things for fun. Yeah, I know that feel for sure.
well,
I
I
was
think
actually I was watching Battleground before I came on the podcast today, and I was like I'm watching the matches and I'm just like I'm like critiquing them in my head and like looking at like what I would have done differently, and it's like but the crowd has loved every match on the card I've watched so far. Like they've
yeah.
loved every match, so I'm like they're doing things right. The crowd loves it, so there might be things I personally would have done differently, but like to each their own.
Yeah. Well, like I try to watch wrestling. Like when I go to watch and study, I watch it without sound. I was like, because it is the it is easy to get yourself captivated and wrapped up into it when there's like when the crowd's going into it and you're getting
Yeah,
into it too. So I try to watch it now muted because I'm like, if I can watch it muted, I can kind of see like, all right, this is what we're doing here. I can see
Hmm.
the crowd's reaction in the background. I can start watching. Sorry, y'all get this cool inside knowledge that I
Yeah.
usually like to talk about, but I like doing that stuff now. So I'll watch a match probably like 3 or 4 times, and then I'll start. I'll watch it the first time because I'm like, I actively wanted to watch this. Let me get myself wrapped up into it, and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah.
second time I'll watch it muted, and then I'll watch it where I just like focus on them, and then I'll focus on the crowd because I want to see
Yeah.
like what moves got the crowd popping and when and where.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Those are things that I do now when I tape studies. So I'm just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I would think like as a judge too, like you've seen it all, so you're kind of like, and like you said, like you have to pull yourself out of like the fan element and then put yourself into like, all right,
Yeah.
this is what I would have done, and I kind of see what they're trying to aim for.
Yeah, and also like when it comes to like the actual like number score of things, you're really kind of doing it off your own scale, like whatever your scale is, right? Like I tend to like rank things like based on things I've seen in the competition already. So it's like if I gave something an 80 before, like I'm gonna give it an 80 again, or higher if they do something cool I think is cooler. Like so I find like what my baseline is for like a trick or like a like a run in my mind, and like I'll
Mhm.
think that's the average run, that's like a 75, like how much better than that did they do, how much worse than that did they do, and then that's like kind of how I base the number scores. But that's like nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, no, I got you. So, I, let's jump into like the wrestling side of things. I
Yeah,
could talk about like extreme sports
me
all
too.
day.
If you couldn't tell, I could as well.
This is like I said, man. There's a long time for the longest time I would just watch the X Games strictly just for MX freestyle and MX
Yeah.
big tricks and big air. And
Oh yeah.
then I remember they brought in, I forgot who they brought in for like best tail whip, and I was like, I don't care. I
Yeah.
was like, I get it. This is a cool trick. But I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, so talk to me about the moment that got you into pro wrestling because being an extreme athlete. What was the deciding factor that made you want to be in?
So like I've been a fan my whole life. I grew up on it. My older brother is 12 years older than me, and he was super into pro wrestling. And so as I grew up, I idolized my older brother. So I watched wrestling with him, and I became a huge fan. And so I kind of had that fandom throughout my whole life. I always had like because of the extreme sports, I always had like the thing in the back of my mind that was like, you can be a pro wrestler. Like you see this, you can do flips, you can do all this stuff. Like you don't care about falling and getting hurt. Like you can do this. Um, so that was always on the back of my mind. Like it especially was creeping up when I was in college, and I was like, oh man, I want to be a wrestler. This is so cool. I was like watching Monday Night Raw every week and like going to as many pay-per-views that were near me. Like I was trying to go to so many wrestling shows. And so I decided I was going to graduate college. I graduated college. I was going to go start training. COVID hit. And so I didn't start training. And so I waited until after COVID and said, I'm not doing pogo shows anymore. And I kind of want to get that performance aspect back in my life. So I went to a fantasy camp at NEPWA and signed up the next class and haven't looked back. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I did a couple classes up at NEPWA. I love that place, man. That place is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah. It's incredible.
The amount of talent that feeds through there is insane to me.
Hmm.
Like just watching the list of names of people who've gone through, and just even to put one over. And I know I'm gonna bring her on the show eventually, but Spike is doing like
Yeah. She's
amazing,
killing it. Yeah. She's killing it.
amazing
For
things.
sure.
Especially when she like you see her debut in Japan.
Yeah.
She's just killing it over there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro,
Incredible.
great for her.
It's great. I mean, Spike and I started training at the same time, literally like 2 weeks, like between when she signed up and I signed up. So
Hmm.
Spike and I have been kind of growing up together in this wrestling world. So it's been awesome to see her succeed and do all the things she's been doing. So yeah, for
See, and
sure.
I remember I came to like a Saturday class in the morning with Tyree.
Mm,
Him and I were talking, and then I was working with some of the other students, and I remember Spike and I's first interaction. She was like, "Well, we're gonna let more mature people go with other mature people." I was like, "Okay, well, I've been doing this for just about 5 years," and she was
yeah.
like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go over here," and I was like, "No, but I want to work with you." And she was like, "It's fine." And so we ended up catching up later. But it was
Yeah.
just funny at that moment, like to see her and then like to watch everybody kind of grow and push and
Yeah.
continue to develop. It's awesome. Like I said,
Yeah.
and I remember Landon being there too, right before he moved.
Yep.
So I mean, I love watching y'all like do your thing and just keep watching the show continue to grow. Um,
Yeah.
but for you, like watching you go to Wrestling Open and face off with like TJ Crawford, I was like, oh, now we're gonna start seeing the levels are gonna start growing because this man's about to just explode off the scene. And here we are.
Yeah, it's been crazy, dude. I've gotten so lucky this year alone. I've gotten to wrestle like so many people who are on my like list of people I really wanted to wrestle. Within the last like 6 months, I've wrestled Dijak, Ricky Smokes, T.J. Crawford, Anthony Green, uh, Mortar. There's others I'm like not listing, and like I've been taking Channing Thomas. Like there's so many people. Like I've gotten to wrestle so many great matches over the last 6 months. Like it's been so like incredible. Like I'm literally living my childhood dream, and it's been so much fun. So yeah, I mean like it's been awesome to like get to go to Wrestling Open now and like show up there every once in a while. And I have we had the Dave's Hot Chicken match a couple weeks ago, and that was a ton of fun. I got to come out in a Dave's Hot Chicken cape.
Yep.
Incredible. Yeah. So I get to do silly things like that with the pogo stick, and it's super super fun. Yeah, I've been grateful for the opportunities that have been given to me.
Yeah, I've been captivated. I've been watching, like, I watched the product, so I know exactly what's happening. And then on Twitch, you guys can also catch the Chaotic show. So I've been also watching Chaotic there.
Yeah.
So just watching you kind of continue to grow. And then, we catch up at Focus Pro and we see, and then, I just keep watching. I'm just like, damn, dude, he's doing great things. And I can't wait till that one day where, like, whether it's in Providence or in Massachusetts or in Boston or even Hartford, Connecticut, I don't care, that you get that call for like AEW to come do some extra work. I'm like, yeah, y'all about to find out like why he's there.
I appreciate that. I hope so. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of just going with the flow of things right now, and it's been a ton of fun. So
Exactly. So let me ask you, man. You've been in for a couple years. I just need to know, what's the worst bump you've taken so far?
Oh, the worst bump I've taken. It had to be for sure an all-out war last year at Chaotic. So a lot of people might know me for my fun-loving pogo stick riding character, Milo Mirra, the extreme athlete. But those who follow Chaotic Wrestling know me as the miraculous Milo Mirra, a member of the I don't know, religious cult, satanic worshiping, crazy God's greatest creations. So, yeah, so last year we had what we called the all-out holy war. It was the baby faces, the angels of Chaotic against the devils of the GGC, and so the worst bump I've taken there, I took in that match, and it was. My teammates Jeriel Rivera and Max Smashmaster Arcturus holding up Tyree for a power bomb, and I gave him a blockbuster through a door while I landed on a bunch of tacks from a top rope blockbuster, and that sucked. Landing on about 200 thumbtacks from like 8 feet in the air was not fun,
Mm,
but it looked really cool.
I,
So
I bet it did. I bet it did. No, it did look cool. I just know, like,
yeah,
I just have to ask. Let me ask. I've never gone through thumbtacks, nor do I want to ever. Sorry, guys. Um, did you
I'd
feel
do it
like
again
initially when
for
what's
sure.
that? You do it again?
Yeah, I said I'd do it again for sure.
What was it
Yeah.
like afterwards? You just getting them pulled out.
It was like, you have the adrenaline flowing after a match. So like actually like I didn't have that many stuck into my back because we were
Mhm.
wearing shirts. Like we were wearing like cutoff shirts. So
Yeah.
a lot of them got stuck to the shirt, and Smashmaster was nice enough to come over to me after the spot and pull tacks out of my shirt for me, which was really nice of him because I had a bunch of big bumps coming still.
Mm.
Uh, and yeah, so like they got out pretty quickly because the adrenaline was flowing. Once the adrenaline's flowing, it wasn't too bad to get them out. So that's probably why my brain's like, yeah, I'll do it again. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll just hit it one more time. Why not?
Yeah.
So that you've been in, and I can never take that bump. I'm my age tell me like, no, bro, like we're not doing this. We're not. Um, but you being that you've been in for a couple years, though, I'm just kind of curious. So, what's the hardest lesson you've had to learn being in the business?
The hardest lesson I've had to learn. Um, Being patient, I think, is probably the thing, right? Like I think there's so much work that goes into wrestling outside of the cameras, right? Like I think all of us go into it and we're like, yeah, you get this glamorous like you get to go out into the ring and wrestle and everybody all the fans love you, but like there's so much work that goes into wrestling outside of wrestling. Like all of the, you do all the marketing, you do all the social media, you do all of the you get gear's expensive. You get like all of the things that go in, like going to the gym a bunch of times a week, just keep in shape, all that stuff. You do all that all the time, and you just are hoping for the opportunities to come and that you can nail those opportunities when you get them. And you hope that they continue to come. And sometimes when you're starting out, the opportunities are hard to come by. And sometimes you make a mistake and you don't have the best match ever. And then you're waiting again for another opportunity. So I think like the hardest thing wrestling has taught me is to be like really patient with everything. Like keep doing all the right things and like good things will come in wrestling, and keep being good to other people in wrestling, and like good things will come to you. And that's, yeah, probably being patient.
No, I like that though, because I mean, and that's just like good advice in life though. But like,
Yeah.
definitely like in wrestling, like it's crazy how like you have all these admirations and stuff like that, and you're putting in all the work, and you think that you're going to be getting somewhere, but like sometimes like the wheel spins and you're just kind of spinning, and you'll get your grip, and then you'll take off, and when you take off, like you're just going to go through the roof. So
Yeah.
you have to, like you said, you just kind of have to just stay ready, because
Yeah.
when the time comes, you'll be ready.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo, so let me hop this over to my favorite part of the Three Count Podcast, which is the Three Count Podcast 10 count questions. And Mr. Mirra, this is how it works. I'm going to fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever the answer is, that is your answer.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
we're gonna start this off with the imaginary timer first. Bing. And in the words of my favorite commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
Favorite TV show?
Severance.
That's a good one. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Favorite movie?
The Dark Knight.
That's a
Contradicting.
great one. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Favorite cartoon?
I don't know. SpongeBob.
That's good. I like that. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Favorite podcast?
It's the Regulation Podcast.
Hmm. Yes. Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
We talked about her, Spike Nishimura.
Yeah, Spike definitely belongs on this podcast. And then last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person who comes on this podcast: favorite curse word?
Oh, fuck. For
It's
sure.
gotta be.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
has
for
to be
sure.
that word.
Yeah. So useful.
It is. It is an amazing word to use, and the fact that you can there's a YouTube video. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's called like the history of the F word,
Mm.
which is like it's just like 2 minutes and 19 seconds. It's hilarious. I think it's one of my favorite things in life. Um, and I talk about it a lot because I think it was going viral before viral was a thing. Like I think
Yeah.
I remember watching this video back in like 2003. Um,
Yeah. Wow.
but like
That's like before YouTube. So,
right, but it was like right when E-Bombs World was like a big thing, and like
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
those who know. But yeah, so there was like a big crossover with it. It was hilarious, man. It was one of my favorite things to ever see. So I recommend
Yeah.
people go on YouTube, find the history of that word, watch it. I guarantee you'll enjoy that 2 minutes and 19 seconds of how you can insert the F word into other words to make it even better. Yo, these are all my questions for you, man. So the last thing I need from you is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Well, Red Dog, thank you for having me. You guys can find me on all social media, Milo Mirra _, or you can go to my website, www.milomira.com.
Shoots, my man got his own webpage. Well, He told you about his social media handles. We actually told you about where you can find him, like in wrestling wise, where you can find him. You can find his own webpage. You can do all that stuff. So you guys know what to do. Go out there, give the likes, give the shares, get the follows, and then make sure you're telling your friends about it. But like every great part of a wrestling match, we gotta take this home because this is a 3 Count podcast with That's Now Entering, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. But like every good Sherpa, it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You see him right there, Milo, Mirra himself, and you guys know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or you're legitimately follow us on all of our social media platforms. You're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're following us on Spotify. You're even checking us out on Amazon Music and even listening to us on that dumb app with the stupid jingle that goes iHeartRadio or whatever it is. You're checking out our merch on foryourwear.com. You're even buying our merch on prowrestlingtees.com. You're telling your mom about us, your dad about us, your grandma about us, your grandpas about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your best friends, and your haters, because we love haters too. Doing all that stuff, or really, you're just kind of waiting for that episode to end, waiting for that outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Red Dog, and thank you for checking out this episode of the 3 Count podcast. Whether that was Chaz friends, Red Dog friends, Damien friends, the film Slouch, now into the ring, now entering 201, or now returning to the ring, all those good episodes. You should really be liking, commenting, and even sharing this with your friends, family, whoever it may be. But what you all should be doing is checking us out on all of our social media platforms at 3Count Pod. Whether that's on IG, Twitch, you can check us out on Threads, whatever it may be. And if you go check us out on X, it is 3Count_pod. Check us out on YouTube, as well as Facebook, on Rumble, on Apple Music, on Spotify. All those fun things. Tell your mom about us, your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, and your best friends and your enemies, because we love haters too. Do all that stuff. And then, last but not least, buy our merch on foryourwear.com or prowrestlingtees.com. Kawaii.